Hey, beautiful souls. Welcome back to Cosmic Blueprints Astrology. I'm Sino, and today we're diving into the most mysterious, enchanting, and elusive planet in astrology, Neptune, the mystic. Neptune is the planet of dreams, illusions, spirituality, and transcendence. It dissolves boundaries, blurs reality, and connects you to something greater than yourself. Where Mars takes action and Uranus awakens, Neptune surrenders. Where Saturn builds structures and Jupiter expands, Neptune dissolves everything into infinite oneness. This is the planet of artists, mystics, healers, and dreamers. Neptune rules your imagination, your spiritual connection, your capacity for compassion, and your relationship with the unseen realms. But Neptune also governs illusion, deception, addiction, and escapism. It's the planet that can inspire divine art or enable destructive fantasy. In this video, we'll explore Neptune's mythology and symbolism, what Neptune represents in your chart, how it expresses through each zodiac sign, Neptune's aspects with other planets, significant Neptune transits, and how to work with Neptune energy to access inspiration while avoiding its pitfalls. Whether you're deeply spiritual or skeptical of the mystical, understanding Neptune will help you navigate the foggy waters between reality and dreams. So let's dive beneath the surface into Neptune's infinite ocean. Neptune takes its name from the Roman god of the sea, known as Poseidon in Greek mythology. Neptune rules the vast oceans, the realm of mystery, depth, and infinite possibility. The ocean is Neptune's perfect symbol, boundless, mysterious, containing everything from the surface beauty of waves to the darkest depths where no light reaches. In mythology, Neptune was powerful but unpredictable. He could be generous and protective, granting safe passage to sailors, or destructive and vengeful, creating storms and earthquakes. This dual nature perfectly captures Neptune's astrological essence, the potential for divine inspiration or complete disillusion, for spiritual transcendence or utter confusion. Neptune was discovered in 1846, and unlike Uranus before it, the timing reveals a lot. This period saw the rise of spiritualism, the beginning of modern psychology exploring the unconscious mind, the invention of photography and film, capturing images that seem like magic, and the development of anesthesia and mind-altering substances. Suddenly, humanity was exploring invisible realms, the psyche, the spirit world, altered states of consciousness. Neptune takes approximately 165 years to complete one orbit through all 12 zodiac signs, spending about 14 years in each sign. This makes Neptune deeply generational. Everyone born within a roughly 14-year period shares the same Neptune sign, coloring that generation's collective dreams, ideals, and spiritual yearnings. Neptune rules Pisces, the sign of the mystic, the empath, and the universal soul. Together, Neptune and Pisces represent humanity's longing for union within the divine, the dissolution of ego boundaries, and the journey back to cosmic oneness. So what does Neptune represent in your chart? Neptune in your birth chart reveals where you seek transcendence, where boundaries dissolve, and where you're most susceptible to both inspiration and illusion. So let's explore what Neptune governs. First, Neptune represents spirituality, mysticism, and transcendence. This planet governs your connection to the divine, however you define it. Neptune is meditation, prayer, mystical experiences, and moments of ego dissolution when you feel part of something infinite. It's the spiritual seeker in you, yearning to merge with universal consciousness. Second, Neptune rules imagination, dreams, and creativity. This is the planet of artists, poets, musicians, and visionaries. Neptune gives access to the collective unconscious, the realm where inspiration flows freely. Where Neptune sits in your chart is where you can channel divine creativity, where your imagination is most vivid, and where you can create beauty that touches souls. Third, Neptune governs compassion, empathy, and universal love. This planet dissolves the boundaries between self and other, allowing you to feel what others feel. Neptune is unconditional love, selfless service, and the desire to ease all suffering. It's the part of you that wants to save everyone, that cannot bear to see pain. Fourth, Neptune represents illusion, deception, and confusion. Here's Neptune's shadow. It doesn't just dissolve boundaries between self and divine. It dissolves boundaries between truth and lies, reality and fantasy. Neptune can deceive or be deceived, create beautiful illusions or destructive illusions. Where Neptune sits is where you can't see clearly, where you might be living in fantasy. Fifth, Neptune rules escapism, addiction, and avoidance. When reality becomes too harsh, Neptune offers escape through substances, fantasy, sleep, or simply checking out. Neptune governs all forms of addiction because addiction is essentially the desire to dissolve painful reality. When Neptune is in your chart, shows where you're most tempted to escape rather than engage. Sixth, Neptune governs sacrifice, martyrdom, and victimhood. This planet can inspire beautiful self-sacrifice in service of something greater, or it can trap you in victim consciousness, believing you must suffer or save others at the expense of yourself. Neptune blurs the line between saint and martyr. And seventh, Neptune represents the ocean, water, and dissolution. Literally ruling the seas, Neptune is associated with all things fluid, boundless, and dissolving. It governs film, photography, music, dance, art forms that create immersive experiences. It also rules fog, mist, and anything that obscures clear vision. In your chart, Neptune's house placement shows the life area where you seek transcendence, where boundaries are unclear, and where you're both inspired and potentially deluded. Your Neptune sign is generational, showing your generation's collective dreams and illusions. Neptune's aspects reveal where your relationship with the mystical is supported or complicated by other parts of your psyche. A well-integrated Neptune gives you spiritual depth, artistic gifts, compassion, and the ability to access divine inspiration. A challenged Neptune might manifest as addiction, victim mentality, chronic confusion, or inability to discern reality from fantasy. Because Neptune takes 165 years to orbit the Sun, spending about 14 years in each sign, your Neptune sign is deeply generational. Each generation shares the same Neptune sign, which colors their collective dreams, spiritual orientation, and artistic expression. Neptune in Aries. It last occurred in 1861 to 1875, and the next is 2025 to 2039. This brings spiritual pioneering and idealistic action. This generation dreams of individual spiritual liberation and fighting for ideas. The last cycle coincided with spiritual movements emphasizing individual connection to the divine rather than institutional religion. The upcoming cycle will likely bring new spiritual pioneering and reimagined concepts of spiritual warriorship. Neptune in Taurus, which last occurred in 1874 to 1889, and the next will be 2038 to 2052. This dissolves material reality and reconnects spirituality with Earth. This generation dreams of paradise on Earth, spiritual abundance, and sacred relationship with nature. They may struggle with materialism or idealized wealth. They're learning to spiritualize the physical realm. Neptune in Gemini. This last occurred in 1887 to 1902, and the next will be 2052 to 2066. This brings mystical communication and spiritual information. This generation dreams of universal communication and sharing spiritual knowledge. They may be susceptible to believing everything they hear or spreading spiritual misinformation. They seek to connect minds in transcendent ways. Neptune in Cancer. This loss occurred in 1901 to 1915, and the next will be 2066 to 2079. This dissolves family boundaries and spiritualizes nurturing. This generation dreams of universal family, collective mothering, and emotional oneness. They may idealize family or struggle with codependency. They're learning that true nurturing includes healthy boundaries. Neptune in Leo. This loss occurred in 1914 to 2093. This brings spiritual creativity and divine self-expression. This generation dreams of expressing unique divinity through art and creativity. They may idealize celebrity or confuse ego with spirit. They channel spiritual energy through dramatic, creative, and romantic expression. Neptune in Virgo. This loss occurred in 1928 through 1943, and the next will be 2093 to 2107. This dissolves perfectionism and spiritualizes service. This generation dreams of perfect health, sacred service, and healing the world. They may struggle with hypochondria or health anxiety. They're learning that serving the divine includes serving the body and practical reality. Neptune in Libra. This loss occurred in 1942 through 1957, and the next will be 2107 to 2121. This brings spiritual partnership and idealized relationships. This generation dreams of perfect love, soulmates, and relationships as spiritual path. They may idealize romance or lose themselves in partnerships. They're learning that true spiritual union includes healthy autonomy. Neptune in Scorpio. This last occurred in 1955 through 1970, and the next will be 2121 through 2135. This dissolves power dynamics and spiritualizes transformation. This generation dreams of psychological and spiritual depth, sexual liberation as sacred, and transforming collective consciousness. They're not afraid of darkness and see spiritual potential in intensity. They brought mysticism into psychology. Neptune in Sagittarius. This loss occurred in 1970 through 1984, and the next will be 2135 through 2149. This brings spiritual seeking and philosophical transcendence. This generation dreams of universal truth, global spiritual unity, and freedom through belief. They may be susceptible to guru worship or spiritual bypassing. They seek meaning, purpose, and connection to higher truth. Neptune in Capricorn. This loss occurred in 1984 through 1998. The next will be 2149 through 2163. This dissolves structures and spiritualizes ambition. This generation dreams of enlightened leadership, spiritual discipline, and manifesting heaven on earth through practical structure. They may struggle with disillusionment about authority or idealize success. They're learning to bring spirituality into concrete form. Neptune in Aquarius. This loss occurred in 1998 through 2012, and the next will be 2163 through 2177. This brings technological transcendence and humanitarian spirituality. This generation dreams of collective awakening, using technology for spiritual evolution and dissolving barriers between all people. They're natural humanitarians who see no separation between individuals. The internet explosion during this period reflects Neptune's boundary-dissolving nature through technology. Neptune in Pisces. This loss occurred in 1847 through 1861 and 2011 through 2026. The next will be 2176 through 2190. This is Neptune at home, operating at peak power. This generation experiences heightened sensitivity, spiritual gifts, and artistic brilliance. They may also struggle more with addiction, escapism, and overwhelm. The current Neptune in Pisces period has brought increased spiritual seeking, awareness of collective trauma, and the need for boundaries in an overly connected world. This generation must learn to be in the world without being consumed by its suffering. Remember, your personal Neptune experience is more specifically shown by its house placement and aspects in your individual chart. Now let's look at Neptune aspects and relationships. Neptune's aspects to personal planets determine how you experience and integrate spiritual, creative, and transcendent energies. Neptune Sun aspects connect your core identity with spiritual and creative forces. Harmonious aspects create natural spirituality, artistic gifts, and charismatic sensitivity. These people radiate ethereal quality and inspire others. Challenging aspects can create identity confusion, difficulty with boundaries, or tendency to lose yourself in roles or relationships. The father may have been absent, idealized, or addicted. The lesson is developing spiritual identity while maintaining healthy ego. Neptune Moon aspects blend emotions with boundless empathy and sensitivity. Harmonious aspects create psychic sensitivity, deep compassion, and emotional artistry. Challenging aspects can manifest as emotional overwhelm, difficulty distinguishing your feelings from others, or using escapism to avoid emotions. The mother relationship may have been characterized by absence, sacrifice, or addiction. These individuals are emotional sponges who must learn energetic boundaries. Neptune-Mercury aspects dissolve logical thinking and open intuitive channels. Harmonious aspects create poetic communication, intuitive knowing, and ability to articulate the ineffable. Challenging aspects can bring scattered thinking, difficulty with facts and details, or susceptibility to deception. These people may struggle in traditional education but excel in creative or spiritual communication. Neptune-Venus aspects spiritualize love and beauty. Harmonious aspects create romantic idealism, artistic talent, and capacity for unconditional love. Challenging aspects can manifest as fantasy in relationships, attracting unavailable partners or love addiction. These individuals must learn to love real people, not idealized fantasies, and that spiritual love includes healthy boundaries. Neptune-Mars aspects dissolve direct action and spiritualize will. Harmonious aspects create inspired action, spiritual warriorship, and ability to act from intuition. Challenging aspects can bring confusion about desires, passive-aggressive behavior, or energy depletion. These individuals may struggle to assert themselves or have difficulty knowing what they actually want versus what they think they should want. Neptune-Jupiter aspects amplify both planets' expansive spiritual qualities. Harmonious aspects create profound faith, spiritual wisdom, and generous compassion. Challenging aspects can bring spiritual inflation, false gurus, or confusing belief with knowledge. These people are natural mystics but must ground their spirituality in reality. Neptune-Saturn aspects create dynamic tension between structure and disillusion, reality and dreams. Harmonious aspects can manifest spiritual ideas practically and bring disciplined creativity. Challenging aspects create tension between responsibility and escape, faith and fear. These individuals may fear spirituality or feel crushed by material reality. The lesson is integrating both, building structures that serve spiritual vision. Neptune-Uranus aspects are generational, blending spiritual transcendence with sudden awakening. This combination can bring spiritual breakthroughs, innovative mysticism, or confusion between awakening and escapism. It dissolves boundaries while simultaneously awakening consciousness to new possibilities. Neptune-Pluto aspects are also generational and extremely subtle, as these planets move so slowly. They combine spiritual transcendence with deep transformation. Generations with strong Neptune-Pluto aspects experience collective spiritual crisis and rebirth. They transform consciousness itself. Now let's look at Neptune transits and cycles. Understanding Neptune transits helps you navigate periods of spiritual awakening, creative inspiration, or potential confusion. Neptune Square Neptune occurs around ages 41 and 42, coinciding closely with the Uranus opposition. The square brings spiritual crisis or awakening. You question beliefs, face illusions, and often experience disillusionment that leads to deeper spiritual truth. What you thought was real may dissolve. This is painful but necessary for spiritual maturity. Neptune opposition Neptune would occur around age 82 and 83, which few people experience. Those who do often report profound spiritual clarity and peace, acceptance of life's mysteries, and readiness for transition. Neptune retrograde occurs annually for about 5 months. During this period, the veil between worlds thins even more, but the energy turns inward. External confusion may settle while internal spiritual work deepens. It's time for honest examination of illusions and deepening meditation or spiritual practice. If you were born with Neptune retrograde in your natal chart, you have an internalized spiritual life. Often, these individuals are naturally psychic but may suppress or fear their gifts. They experience the spiritual realm privately and intensely. They may struggle with the material world, feeling too harsh or real. Their spiritual development is deeply personal and can't be rushed by external teachers. Neptune transits to your natal planets bring spiritual opening, creative inspiration, or potential confusion in whatever area that planet represents. A Neptune transit to your Venus might bring spiritual love or romantic illusion. To your Saturn might dissolve career structures or inspire you towards spiritual vocation. To your Moon might heighten psychic sensitivity or create emotional overwhelm. Neptune transits are slow, lasting years, and creating gradual disillusion and spiritual opening. Initially, you may feel confused or lost. As the transit progresses, you learn to navigate the fog and access the inspiration. By the transit's end, you've integrated a new spiritual understanding. The key with Neptune transits is staying grounded while opening spiritually. Keep one foot in reality while exploring the mystical. Otherwise, you risk losing yourself entirely in fantasy or escapism. So how do you work with Neptune energy? Neptune can be the most beautiful or most difficult planet to work with. Here's how to access its gifts while avoiding its pitfalls. First, develop discernment between inspiration and illusion. Neptune blurs the line. Practice asking, is this spiritual truth or spiritual bypass? Am I being inspired or deluded? Reality check your visions with trusted, grounded friends. True spiritual insight leads to greater functionality in reality, not less. Second, maintain healthy boundaries. Neptune dissolves boundaries, which can lead to beautiful empathy or complete enmeshment. Learn to feel compassion without absorbing others' emotions. Visualize yourself in a permeable but present boundary, able to sense others while remaining yourself. You can't help anyone if you've dissolved into their suffering. Third, ground your spirituality in daily practice. Neptune needs structure to avoid becoming fantasy. Establish regular meditation, prayer, or creative practice. Spirituality isn't just peak experiences, it's daily commitment. Let Saturn structure your Neptune. Fourth, channel creativity consistently. Neptune's creative gifts need expression. Write, paint, dance, make music, whatever calls to you. Don't wait for perfect inspiration. Show up regularly and Neptune will flow through you. Blocked Neptune energy creates depression and escapism. Fifth, serve others without martyrdom. Neptune calls you to service, but healthy service honors your needs too. Ask, can I give this without resentments? Am I helping or enabling? Is this true service or codependency? Sacrificing yourself doesn't serve anyone. It creates another person who needs help. Sixth, confront escapist tendencies. Neptune makes reality harsh, so the temptation to escape is real, whether through substances, fantasy, excessive sleep, or simply checking out. Notice when you're avoiding life. Ask what you're escaping from and address it directly. Healthy Neptune finds transcendence through engagement, not avoidance. Seventh, honor your sensitivity. If you have strong Neptune, you're deeply sensitive. The world is overwhelming. This isn't weakness, it's gift, but it requires protection. Limit exposure to violence, toxic people, and energy vampires. Create sanctuary space. Your sensitivity is how you access divine creativity and compassion. Eighth, work with water and music. Neptune rules both. Time near water, so oceans, rivers, even baths, attune you to Neptune. Music carries you into transcendent states. Use these consciously as spiritual practice, not just entertainment. Ninth, embrace mystery. Neptune teaches that not everything needs explanation. Some things are meant to be felt, not understood. Mystery isn't confusion. It's acceptance that the divine is bigger than your rational mind can grasp. Rest in not knowing. And finally, remember that compassion includes yourself. Neptune's empathy extends to everyone except often yourself. The spiritual path includes self-compassion. Forgive yourself as freely as you forgive others. You too are part of the divine oneness worthy of infinite love. Neptune is your connection to the infinite, the mystical, the divine. It dissolves the illusion of separation and reminds you that you're part of something vast and beautiful beyond comprehension. Yes, Neptune can confuse, deceive, and invite escapism, but Neptune also inspires divine arts, spiritual transcendence, and boundless compassion. Understanding your Neptune placement reveals where you seek union with the divine, where your spiritual gifts lie, and where you must be most careful of illusion. Whether your Neptune is dreaming through Pisces or seeking truth through Sagittarius, it's showing you the path to transcendence. Remember, Neptune doesn't ask you to abandon reality. It asks you to see the sacred within reality. Every person is divine. Every moment contains eternity. Every act of compassion dissolves the illusion of separation. When you work with Neptune consciously, with discernment and boundaries, you become a channel for divine creativity and love. Thank you so much for watching Cosmic Blueprints Astrology. If this journey into Neptune's mystical waters has resonated with your soul, please like this video and subscribe for more in-depth planetary guides. Comment below with your Neptune sign and house placement, and share how Neptune expresses in your spiritual journey. I'd love to hear your stories. But until next time, keep well, beautiful souls.